Hey there, everyone, and welcome to the first live stream of the Wilds of Eldraine era here on the channel. I'm mainly doing this stream here today to get kind of prepared with you all for tomorrow's early access streamer event. Um, just so that can go smooth for all of us, and we can kind of maybe rank some cards. We can do some practice drafts here together. If the practice drafts don't fire due to enough people being here, then we're gonna go ahead and do some bot drafts as well, with your conversation in and out and in between. So ideally, that's why the thumbnail is titled "Interactive Live Stream." So ideally, we've got some viewers here willing to be interactive with me as well. You'll always see here in the banner at the bottom, check out the pinned comment in the live stream chat for info on how to join the draft pod. And basically throughout the day, or forever how long we're streaming here today, as soon as that draft pod hits up to 8 people, we're just going to fire it off and start drafting. You can see right here we've got myself and Ruben in here already. So if you stop by, all you have to do is click the link. You'll be dropped right into the draft pod, and as soon as we get to 8, I will start the draft. And ideally, we'll just be running drafts in and out. So, see, Ruben says hi in the chat. Hello, Ruben, to you as well. So while we wait for people to kind of trickle in and fill in the queue here, we're gonna hop into a practice draft here on Draft Sim. It's a bot draft. Obviously, we can't really be playing out any of these games here today because, well, there's no way to do that just yet. But we can draft against bots and against each other once Draft Master fills up. It always tells me in the top left here how many people we have in the queue. So I'll always be able to see that going. If you're in the queue, or if you ever join the queue and you've got other friends you know that might be interested in drafting as well. They don't even have to be hanging out in the stream or not. Just have them send in the link and we'll get drafting with real humans here today. All right. We've got our first potential, bot draft pack of Wilds of Eldraine up in front of us here. So let's take a look at what we're taking. This is an interesting one. Song of Totentans. Unfortunately, I can't make these any bigger for you, so hopefully you can read them. It's as big as I can make these cards down here. I can't even right-click on them and make them bigger. So I'll do some reading, but people hopping in and out, hopefully you can read them. Song of Totentans, X and a red. Create X 1/1 black rat creature tokens with this creature can't block, and creatures you control gain haste until end of turn. I think this card is pretty good. It's very aggressive. There's also Torch the Tower, which is among the best common removal spells in the deck, or in the set, I mean. You got 1 mana to deal 2 to a creature. Basically shock, except it can't go face. But if you bargain it, deals 3 instead, and you scry 1. And if a creature was dealt damage, it gets exiled instead of goes to the graveyard. 2 really good red cards here. I don't think any other common competes with Torch the Tower, so we're basically just going to be looking at Torch the Tower versus Song of Totentans. There's also Frolicking Familiar and Troyon, but these are gold cards. Obviously, these are probably better in their archetype, but we don't actually know what archetype we're going to be playing here, obviously, and you don't want to take gold cards too early. Welcome new viewers. Go ahead and check out the pinned comment to join live pod drafts with me. As soon as we get up to 8, we'll fire it off. I think my pick here is going to be, you know what, it's the rare. Why don't we take Song of Totentans? Seems pretty good. Wants to go in kind of a black-red deck, so. Interestingly, the Enchanting Tales in this set, a lot of them are absolute garbage, including Griffin Airy here. Griffin Airy, there's not a life gain theme in this set, so like this card doesn't do anything. So it's just, we're not going to take that, obviously. So what are we looking at? If we take a red card, we take Merry Bards, 3 mana, 3/2. When it ETBs, you can pay 1. If you do, attach a Young Hero role token to another creature. And reminder, Young Hero is the one that, when it attacks, if its toughness is 3 or less, you put a +1/+1 counter on it. That's a pretty good common, to be honest. There's also Welcome to Sweet Tooth as our uncommon. Looks like the rare was taken by the bot here. 2 mana, you get a 1/1. Chapter 2, you make food. Chapter 3, you put X/1/1 counters on target creature where X is 1 plus the number of foods you control. So you get at least 1 counter. Sometimes you get 2, 3 if you have food synergies. That's pretty good. Dutiful Griffin, 5 mana 4/4 flyer with upside. Always great. Ego Drain, only playable in the Fairies deck, which we don't know that we're going to be in yet. And then there's also Hopeless Nightmare, which is a card I love. I think I have this as the second best black common right now. Interested what y'all think as well. 1 mana, when it ETBs, each opponent discards a card and loses 2 life. When it's put into the graveyard from the battlefield, you scry 2, and it has a way to put itself in the graveyard, except this is a set with bargain. So you're going to want to bargain this thing away. You get 2 damage to the face, you make them discard a card, and then it's bargain fodder for all of your bargain cards. Quite good here. So Song of Totentans, which is we already have in the deck, can go well with Dutiful Griffin. I guess it can go well with Welcome to Sweet Tooth. I mean, not really. Red-green isn't really a food deck necessarily. I like me a Hopeless Nightmare. I mean, Dutiful Griffin could be the best card here, but then we have 2 kind of expensive cards in an aggro deck already. I'm going to take Hopeless Nightmare, and we're going to go from there. Once again, we've got another F in the Enchanting Tale slot, as is the theme here. Archon's Glory, Combat Trick, Flick a Coin, Twisted Fealty is the, active treason kind of thing going on here. 3 mana. You gain control of a creature, you untap it, it gains haste, create a wicked roll attached to a creature. This might even just be playable in non-sacrifice decks. I'm also not sure how much synergy there is with the whole sacrifice thing going on anyway. Yeah, Ruben, if you're talking about Hopeless Nightmare, I totally agree. I mean, this card is going to be great in black-white. It's going to be great in red-black. It's just going to be great in any deck that has cards that say bargain on it. Flick a Coin is not a card I'm super high on here. Wicked Visitor, also not a card I'm super high on. 2 mana, 2/2. Whenever an enchantment's put into a graveyard, on your side, each opponent loses 1 life. Much more of a commander card, maybe. I'm interested in what Chad thinks about Slumbering Keep Guard. So, I think I listed this as my #1 white common in the archetype guides. I'm probably too high on that. And other content creators have been saying this card is garbage. And maybe it is, but here is my comparison. My comparison is the 2 mana card from Dominaria United that can buff itself. Sunbathing Rootwalla, right? That card, 2 mana 2/2, 4 mana until end of turn, it gets +1/+1 for each basic land type. This was one of the best green commons. This is a 1 mana 1/1 that doesn't do anything, where it does things by itself by just scrying every time an enchantment enters. And you can pay 3 mana instead of 4 to give it +1/+1 for each enchantment you control. We already have a Hopeless Nightmare. I mean, I feel like this activation could be giving +4/+4 like pretty often. In which case, it's almost like a better Sunbathing Rootwalla. Is that right? I mean, I think the card's actually pretty good. Maybe I'm wrong. Who knows? I mean, I don't really like any of the other cards here. I'm probably gonna take it for that reason. No idea what's going on here. Sorry, I've got some sort of thing in the way. I don't think you could see it because I've got just my browser showing. So I think I'm going to take the keep card and maybe we go black-white or something like that. Ooh, a pick 4 Torch the Tower. Don't mind if I do. 1 mana, deal 2 to anything, deals 3. Instead, if that permanent, if you bargained and it also scries 1, and it exiles, does a whole lot of things. Hollow Scavenger is also pretty good. It's a 3 mana 3/2. You can pay 1 and sack a food to give it +2/+2. Only once a turn. And it has an adventure where you can pay 1 and make a food. What else we got? Stingblade? No. I mean, Johann Stopgap, I do like that card. We're going to take one of the top cards in each of the colors here and then just figure it out. I think I'll take Torch the Tower, although Back for Seconds is also great. It's our first bargain card to go with the Hopeless Nightmare. Return up to 2 target creature cards from your graveyard to your hand, and if it was bargained, you put 1 into the battlefield for free if it was 4 mana value or less. Quite good. But there's a Torch the Tower, and I think I'm just going to go ahead and take the Great Removal spell and Torch the Tower. And then red is basically gone, but there's tons of black and white that's eminently playable here. So there's another Keep Guard. There's a Rat Out. There's a Clothier, and a Neva. So Neva says 4 mana 2/2 Menace. And when it enters the battlefield, return target creature or enchantment card from your graveyard to your hand, which is already just fine. And then whenever an enchantment is put into the graveyard from the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on Neva, then scry 1. Black-white seems open in this bot draft here, but we do have 2 really good red cards. Could go red-white, but that makes the keep guard a lot worse. I'm going to go for the upside with Neva here and see if black-white ends up being the deck that's the most open here. So what else we got now? Grand Ballgast. It's like the bad common version that, you know, celebrates. +2 or +1/+1 and trample if you celebrated. It's a 2 mana 2/2. There's Charmed Clothier, which 5 mana 3/3 flyer ETBs create a roll token, but there's a Knight of Doves here, which goes perfectly in black-white. 3 mana 1/3. Whenever an enchantment you control is put into the graveyard from the battlefield, create a 1/1 flyer. Pretty good to me. Ooh, Hatching Plan seems fun too. 3 mana or 2 mana enchantment. Doesn't do anything. But when it's put into the graveyard from the battlefield, draw 3 cards. And if you have enough bargain, 2 mana draw 3. Great. With upside, because the bargain then makes your other cards better. So, but I'm going to take Knight of Doves here. Ooh. You don't have to convince me for a pick 7 Hopeless Nightmare. We already have 1 in the deck. It's a 1 mana enchantment. ETBs, each opponent discards a card and loses 2 life. And when it's put into the graveyard from the battlefield, use Scry 2, and it can do it itself, or you can bargain it, which is what we are going to be planning on doing with all of the lack of bargain cards that we have so far. There's also a Frantic Firebolt, notably, which is a great common, but I think that Hopeless Nightmare is even better. Frantic Firebolt, 3 mana, deals X damage to a creature where X is 2 plus the number of cards in your graveyard that are instant sorceries or adventures. So it's 3 mana, deal 2 with upside, but Hopeless Nightmare has all sorts of upside as well. So we'll go ahead and take that. So we got a pretty good, you know, black-red or black-white start here with double Nightmare and then Torch the Tower and Totentans, or Slumbering Keep Guard, Knight of Doves, and Neva. So what do we take here? I do like High Fae Negotiator. It's a 5 mana 3/5 flyer. It has bargain, which it's something we're looking for. And when it ETBs, if it was bargain, it drains your opponent for 3. I mean, this is exactly what we're looking for with cards like Hopeless Nightmare and Knight of Doves and Neva. I mean, it's got so much synergy with what we're doing already, and it's a pretty easy pick here. All right, bots, go home, you're drunk. Torch the Tower, wield. Um, I mean, you can only do so much with bot drafts, which is why we're trying to go ahead and get human drafts going here. Again, for all you new viewers, check out that pinned comment, click the link, and you will join in the queue to get a human pod draft with you, me, and other viewers going here on Draftmancer. All its pinned comment, you can go ahead and click on that. And things like Torch the Tower wheeling probably won't happen in human drafts. Which is why we've got that queue open all day. So, Torch the Tower? Pick 9, anyone? Sure. Charmed Clothier, 5 mana, 3/3 flyer, ETBs, create a roll. A royal roll. I'm going to get so tongue-tied with the word royal roll so many times. It's either that or Merry Bards, and both of these are quite good. Got 3 in. All you have to do is just keep that window open once you're in, and you've got your spot reserved for once we get up to 8 here. Invite friends, send links. We'll get a human draft going here soon. Charmed Clothier and Merry Bards. I think I'm with Double Torch the Tower. This is really close. I do really like the Knight of Doves and Neva. But Double Torch the Tower, Song of Totentanz, Double Nightmare, and Negotiator is already a pretty good black-red deck. So let's take the Merry Bards. We'll take Flick a Coin, and we're just going to take all the cards here that are our colors that don't really matter. All right, what do we got in pack 2? We've got a Heartflame Duelist, which is a great red-white. You already sent the link. All right, get them in there. Got a Heartflame Duelist, which is pretty good in red-white. Honestly, this card is playable in just red decks. You don't even have to cast the creature side of this, because 3 mana deal 3 to anything is already good enough. There is a Stone Splitter Bolt, though, and this is a red and X. And it deals X damage to target creature planeswalker, and if it was bargain deals, it deals twice X. And we're looking for bargain spells with these double Hopeless Nightmares already. Nothing relevant down here, so I'll just leave that where it is. There's another Keep Guard. There's also the Duelist, so which is better? I don't think we're going red-white. So we're either white-black or red-black here. And I think I'm going to take the Bolt over the other one over there. So let's see where we can go from here. No red cards except Unruly Catapult, which is much more of a blue-red card. 3 mana 0/4 Defender. Taps to deal 1 damage to each opponent. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, untap it. So it's like that 1 mana or 2 mana 0/3 from that set that kind of does that. Thermal Alchemist, I think. Is it just Thermal Alchemist, or is it better or worse than Thermal Alchemist? Well, that's not the name of the card. What's the name of the card? Something Alchemist, right? Yeah, Thermo Alchemist. I almost had it. Okay, so 2 mana 0/3 Defender taps to deal damage whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, untap it. I mean, it's the same thing, except it's 1 extra mana and 1 extra toughness. And Thermo Alchemist is like upshifted to uncommon because of how good it was. I wonder if this card is going to be incredible. Or if the difference between 2 and 3 mana is going to be too big. Who knows? Y'all let me know. Archive Dragon. I mean, we're just looking at black, red, and white cards here. Got a Hopeful Vigil. Hopeful Vigil is a pretty good card. 2 mana. When it ETBs, you make a 2/2 with Vigilance. And when it is put into the battlefield from play, you scry 2. And it's bargain fodder. But I think we're leaning more black-red, which means I would take Back for Seconds, which is also great. 3 mana, return up to 2 target creature cards from your graveyard to your hand. If this spell was bargained to put one onto the battlefield for free, if its mana value was 4 or less. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to take that. With double Hopeless Nightmare, we're just looking for a ton of bargain fodder here. Shadow the Oath is the clunky 5-mana sorcery speed removal spell for the set. 5 mana, destroy target creature or enchantment, and you get a wicked roll onto something, and it's fine, but it's not super high priority. There's also Rat Out. 1 mana, -1/-1, you get a rat. Pretty good to me. And then a combat trick here. I think the best card in the pack is Picklock Prankster. 2 mana, 1/3, Flying Vigilance. But that's not for us. We'll go ahead and take Rat Out. Does this torch the tower wield if I take Totentans here? So 3 mana, 2/3. Whenever this or another non-token creature you control dies, you get a rat. And you can give attacking rats Death Touch for paying 2. I mean, if we're going black-red, then this card's going to be great. So is Torch the Tower, but we already have 2 of those, and I would like to take the uncommon here. All right, Feed the Cauldron. This is kind of like a I can never remember the names of the cards, but the 3 mana destroy target creature with mana value 3 or less. It's just that with upside. Maybe power 3 or less, but this is similar. It's got mana value 3 or less. And if it's your turn, you make a food. There's also Merry Bards here. Gnawing Crescendo. I think we'll go ahead and take the Feed the Cauldron. Another Totentans or a Harried Spearguard, which is a pretty good red common. 1 mana, 1/1. When it dies, create a 1/1 black rat, which is what we're looking for. But we'll take another copy of the Signpost Uncommon. Ooh, Warehouse Tabby. Whenever an enchantment you control is put into the graveyard from the battlefield, make a 1/1 rat, and you can give it Death Touch. Might be for our deck. It's also Conceited Witch. 3 mana, 2/3, Menace. You can get a wicked roll for 1 mana as its adventure, but I think I'll take the Warehouse Tabby. There's a Not Dead After All, but that's just kind of a combat trick we're probably not playing. Skewer, Slinger, Edgewall, Pack, Sugar Rush. I don't really care about any of these cards. Sugar Rush is a combat trick. Skewer, Slinger is just a card with no synergy. And Edgewall Pack gives you a rat, but I don't think it's great. It's probably the one I'm most likely to play. Now we can take the Sugar Rush combat trick. All of these cards don't matter. A third to last pick Cooped Up is kind of insane. Same with Hopeful Vigil, but here we are. Yeah, Ruben, the rat theme, it's interesting. It seems fun. I don't know how powerful the rats are actually going to be. Mainly because they can't block. But they are tokens for bargaining away. They don't do anything. So that's also pretty good. Speaking of tokens for bargaining away, Hopeless Nightmare is one of those. It's not a token, but it's an enchantment for bargaining away. 1 mana. Each opponent discards a card, loses 2 life, and when it put into the battlefield, you scry 2. And it can put itself there, except you're going to want to bargain it. So that's what we're going to go ahead and take here. I think we are locked in as red-black at this point. He says as he opens one of the better white rares in the set. 2 mana, 2/2 Vigilance. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you can pay 1, and when you do, you make a Sorcerer roll. That's it. It's free. As long as you have 1 mana. It's just free Sorcerer roll. Here you go. But we are pretty locked into black-red at this point. So we can take Redcap Thief, 3 mana, 2/3, make a treasure. Sweet Tooth Witch, 3 mana, 3/2. There is also just the fun aspect of playing a bunch of rats. That's also fine. You see some tribal decks and some token synergies every now and then. Rats is usually not one of them. But it's fun that it is this time. And then a bad equipment tier. So I guess I'll just take the Thief. I'm probably not playing any of those cards. There's another Merry Bards and a Barrow Naughty. Barrow Naughty is much more for fairies. But the Merry Bards is a 3-mana 3/2 that you can pay 1. When you do, you make a young hero roll. Alright. So we have currently 3 people in here, and once I finish this practice draft here and build the deck, I'm just gonna go ahead and run this with 5 other bots so we can get some runs in as well with y'all in here. So Sayan and Ruben here, just stay in the pod. We'll get it fired within the next 5 minutes or so. Even without 8 people, we can do it with 5 other bots, and it'll be all right. We've got Torch the Tower. I mean, why wouldn't you take another one if you already took 3? Sugar Rush, Combat Trick, Skewer Slinger. I don't care about any of this stuff. What is Raid Bombardment again? 3 mana. Whenever a creature I control with power 2 or less attacks, it deals 1 damage. I mean, I guess it could be good with rats, but I'm probably still not playing it. Ooh, I like a Voracious Vermin. 3 mana, 2/1. When it ETBs, you get a 1/1 rat, and when another creature you control dies, you get a counter on it. It's fine. There's also Fell Horseman, but I think I like the Vermin better. Ooh, a Harried Spearguard. 1 mana, 1/1 haste. Whenever it dies, create a 1/1 black rat. Love me some rats. Shadow the Oath as the clunky 5 mana removal spell in black. Sugar Rush, Minecart Daredevil. Probably not playing any of these. None of these picks matter. And those last picks really didn't matter. So, deck build. Can I export? Copy list. Go to sealed deck. We can build in here because I think this deck builder is a little bit better. So we are black-red. What do we want? I think the Merry Bards are good. Obviously, double or triple Torch the Tower, however many we got, is also good here. Harried Spearguard. Reminder, we're firing this draft pod off in about 3 minutes or so. Last chance to get in it if you are in chat and want to live draft Wilds of Eldraine with me and other viewers. Currently I have 3 as soon as I finish this deck build, basically. I'm just going to go ahead and fire it off. So hop on in if you would like a chance to play. Song of Totentans, great rare. Stone Splitter Bolts, keep it up here as well. Ratcatcher Trainee might not be bad in this deck. 2 mana. It's a 2/1 with First Strike, and as an adventurer, you can get 2 rats. I guess I can make that one slightly bigger for you. Skewer Slinger, no thanks. I don't really care about any of the other cards here. So now we look at black one. Absolutely, Adam. Content for the new set. You gotta love it. You gotta love set review season and early access season and the first drafts and pre-release weekend. It's just the greatest time of the year, and we get it 4 times a year. Just wonderful. Hop in the draft, Adam. We'd love to have you. Once we get to 4. What's been my favorite set to play over the last year and a half or so? I'll have to think about that. Let me build this deck first. I think Warehouse Tabby's probably still good enough because we have 3 Nightmares here. Back for Seconds is a bargain spell we're going to want. High-Fey Negotiator is another bargain spell we're going to want. Voracious Vermin is fine. Feed the Cauldron is a good removal spell. Holy moly, we did not get enough 2-drops in this deck. I didn't even notice. Monstrosity is a 2-drop. We have a bunch of 1s, though, and removal. So this is 20 cards? I mean, we could play like the Monstrosity as just another 2-drop since we don't have very many. And I don't care much about Skewer Slinger here. Flick a coin. I don't think we need Daredevil, no thanks. I don't need another 3-drop. Edgewall Pack might be okay. Makes a rat. I think the Thief is probably also fine, right? Something like this, right? We've got 3 Hopeless Nightmares. We've got, for removal, we have Triple Torch the Tower, Rat Out, Feed the Cauldron, Stone Splitter Bolt. All fine. High Fate Negotiator is a good bargain card. Back for Seconds is a good bargain card. Is that the only 2 bargain cards we got? No, we got 3 Torch the Towers to get rid of the Hopeless Nightmares as well. Obviously great. So, first practice draft of the set, and we ended up in black-red. Not too bad. Black-red could be pretty good here with this whole rat theme. Adam, to answer your question, it's either March of the Machine or Dominaria United. Both of those are really good. Like, they kind of supported all the colors, and I might say Dominaria United just, it had like this whole 5-color domain thing going on that just was unique to most sets. Like, a lot of sets didn't really have that. There was a whole 5-color, actually the 5-color deck might have been just like the best deck in the format. So, yeah. All right, last chance to join here. I will be firing this draft in a moment. If we can get one more player into it, we can have 4 players and 4 bots. But if not, 3 is fine. And we'll get Ruben and Seon a chance to draft as well here. And if you're in one of these drafts as well, obviously don't like comment to me what you're drafting or anything. We could potentially share, I don't know if you have a way to share links in chat to your deck afterward or something like that. But yeah, obviously we don't want to ruin the integrity of the draft. Waiting for the lag to finish up over here because there's a little bit of a delay, as there is with most live streams, just because internet and things. So. All right. 3 players it is. Have a good draft. We have started. Ruben and Seon, if you're here, we have started the draft. Go ahead and draft on your own over there. Meanwhile, you have a timer up here above your pack one, pick one, kind of above the second or third card, 75 seconds. And I think it gets shorter as the packs go on. Leyline of Sanctity is a unplayable, as most of the Enchanting Tales are. Cooped Up is probably the card I'm taking here. Cooped Up is 2 mana to enchant creature, can't attack or block, and you can pay 3 mana to exile enchanted creature. And there's a fun trick you can do with Bargain and Cooped Up in this set. You can activate the exile clause on this and hold priority, and in response, bargain the Cooped Up away, and then you still get the exile. You still get to exile the card. So you get the bargain effect, and you get the removal effect. Both of them. So we took pack one, pick one, Cooped Up. It's not the best pack one, pick one, but I mean, it's something here. What could we follow it up with? Kellen's Light Blades, but oh, this makes it very big. You can actually read these now. Light Blades. Wait, did I not add bots in here? I don't think it added bots. It's just doing a draft with 3 people. I think it's just gonna... I thought it automatically filled out for 8, but I don't think it did. Okay. Y'all hold on over there. You're still in the queue, so what I've got to do... Sorry about your pack one, pick one. Hopefully it wasn't too good. What I've got to do here is add 5 bots to start. Okay, there we go. Now we're good. Now we're good. Sorry about your pack one, pick one, but we're good to go now. Okay, all right. What are we doing with our new pack one, pick one? Leyline of Lightning, another unplayable enchanting tale. Godric Cloaked Reveler, 3 mana 3/3 haste with celebration that makes it a flying dragon. Don't mind if I do. There's a Dutiful Griffin here, which is another good uncommon, 5 mana 4/4 flyer. All of these commons are pretty bad. So it's between Godric and High Fae Negotiator and Dutiful Griffin. Well, Ruben, all you got to do is just click on the card, or you can even drag it down and put it wherever you want to do this draft here. If you say you don't know what you're doing because it's a new set, then that's all of us. So, but you're over here on the right compared to me passing 2 people or 2 bots in between us. But I'm going to go ahead and take Godric to start here. Impact Tremors, probably not worth it in limited. Grabby Giant, 4 mana 4/3 reach, 2 mana make a treasure, 3 mana sack an artifact or land to draw a card. That seems fine. What else do we have? Two-Headed Hunter's probably better. 5 mana 5/4 menace. And then its adventure gives something double strike. I don't think there's anything here that makes me want to move off of red. I mean, there is Archive Dragon, 6 mana 4/6 flyer. Don't know how good this is, though. It's a little expensive. There's Picklock Prankster. Yeah, I'm not feeling called by any of this other stuff. So I think I'll go ahead and take Two-Headed Hunter here. Stay red. Which one is this one? ETBs draw a card. 2 mana, draw a card. These Enchanting Tales are something else. Knight of Doves is a card I like, but probably not in red-white. Woodland Acolyte, 3 mana 2/2 ETBs, draw a card, which is already just good enough. And then it has an adventure where you can put... Oh, I thought this adventure was a lot better than it was. It puts it on top of your library. That's... I thought it went to the hand. That's not near as good. There's a Red Cap Thief just to stay red, but it's not great. No, I think it's either Woodland Acolyte or not. I'm just going to take the Woodland Acolyte. I think that goes better in red-white. Ooh, hello, red cards. All right, we've got Frantic Firebolt here. 3 mana, deals 2, plus any sorts of instant sorceries and adventures in your graveyard. Make it more. We've also got Cut In. 4 mana, deal 4, make a Young Hero roll token. These are pretty close. I think I have Frantic Firebolt a little bit ahead of Cut In my rankings right now. But there's an argument that this could be better. Mana Flare, another F in the Enchanting Tale slot. Monstrous Rage is an outstanding combat trick. It's 1 mana +3/+1 in Trample, and +1/+1 in Trample of that sticks and stays there, which is great. So I think I'm going to take the Firebolt here and just stay red for now. Dark Tutelage, another F in the Enchanting Tale slot. We've got Harried Spearguard, 1 mana 1/1. When it dies, you make a rat. Pretty good. It's also Warehouse Tabby, 1 mana 1/1. Whenever an enchantment goes to your graveyard from the battlefield, you make a rat. Ashiok's Reaper, 4 mana 3/3. Enchantment to the graveyard. draw a card. Probably looking at the Spear Guard here. I'm not attached to this Acolyte necessarily. And this keeps us red. We could still be like red-black or even red-green or something. But I'll go ahead and take the Harried Spear Guard here. Utopia Sprawl, one of the actually playable Enchanting Tales. Agatha's Champion. Speaking of red-green, 5 mana 4/4 with Bargain and Trample. And if it was Bargain, it fights something. That is probably just the best card here. There's Flick a Coin, don't care too much. Skewer Slinger, don't care too much. You know. I think I'm going to take Agatha's Champion. 5 mana 4/4. Now we have a couple of creatures power 4 or greater already. Collector's Vault, 2 mana. You can pay 2 and tap it, draw a card, discard, make a treasure. Seems like a commander thing. Red is drying up a little bit. Green is gone, which I don't like. Apparently no one in Fairies, because this card is outstanding in Fairies. It's a better Thoughtseize for a Fairies deck. Stockpiling Celebrant is probably my pick here. It's a 3 mana 3/2 ETBs where you can turn a non-land permanent to your owner's hand, or to your hand. And if you do, you scry 2. Has some synergies in the format, not really with anything that I currently have, but still fine. Another aggressive red card, 1 mana 2/1, and then at one point you can just pay 1 and get a young hero roll onto something. Protected Parents, 3 mana 3/2. When it dies, you make a young hero roll. The Red Tooth Genealogist is also pretty good. I'm wondering if we lean more toward green. I think we're most likely to be red right now with Godric and the Firebolt. So I'll take the Veteran. We are on the wheel. Of course, Leyline of Lightning wheeled because that card is garbage. Dutiful Griffin. Also wheeled. Okay, so is red-white the direction we're heading? So 5 mana 4/4 flyer with upside. That's probably just good enough. Grabby Giant wheeled as well. So did Red Cap Thief. I think these might have been the only 2 red cards in the pack. I think I'll hedge the bets with Grabby Giant here. As a creature power 4 or greater in the event that we do go red-green. Nope, wrong one. Nope, Grabby Giant goes over here. Sky Beast Tracker. Cut in Wield. 4 mana. So nobody's in red. For those of you that are in this draft, obviously don't tell me that. But 4 mana, deal 4 to a target creature. And you get a young hero roll. I mean, yeah, that card's fine. So is Warehouse Tabby. Another card I like. And Slinger probably don't care about. All right, getting into pack 2 here. And we open an F in the Enchanting Tale slot, because of course we do, as everyone likely does in this format. There's Boundary Lands Ranger, 2 mana 2/2. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if you control a creature power 4 or greater, you can discard a card. If you do, draw a card. There's Tangled Colony, but I don't know if we're black. Although this card is good enough to potentially make us black. We don't have any black cards except the Tabby right now. It's the best card in the... Oh, there is Hopeful Vigil, which is a pretty darn good white card here. And then the Boundary Lands Ranger could be good if we end up going red-green. But this might even wheel based off of what was going on in the last pack. Let's go ahead and take Hopeful Vigil here. 2-mana 2/2 Vigilance. When it goes to the graveyard, you scry 2. And we already have... We don't have any bargain yet. Well, the champion, but I'm not sure that's going to go well together. I don't think we're going white-green. Raid Bombardment, probably not playable. There's another Frantic Firebolt, though. 3 mana, deal 2. And then it gets better as you have more instants and sorceries in your graveyard. There's a Slumbering Keep card. Again, if you are here but weren't here earlier, let me know what you think of this card. I'm pretty darn high on it. Most people are not. Am I crazy? It's very possible. I could be crazy. But do you guys like Slumbering Keep guard? Because I do. I think I'm taking Frantic Firebolt here over another Woodland Acolyte, I guess, or an Armory Mice. I think I'm most likely going to be red-white. Belligerent to the Ball. This has got to be the pick here. 3 mana, 3/3. At the beginning of combat on your turn of 2 or more non-land permanents, enter the battlefield under your control. So if you celebrated, target creature gets +1/+0 and Menace. Oh, there's a Candy Grapple. It's the first time I've seen this in a pack. 2 mana, -3/-3, instant speed, bargain -5/-5. This card is insane. But Belligerent to the Ball is also good, and we know we're 100% red here. So I think I'm taking Belligerent, and then I'm making bot number 2 very happy. So let's go ahead and take the Belligerent to the Ball. There is the red-white creature land, and I think we're most likely red-white with this deck. This is probably going to be pretty darn good for us. So you can pay 3 to have it become a 2/2. And when it attacks, you put a 1/1 counter on a creature. Could be itself, could be something else. There's Return Triumphant, which is a card I'd probably play in red-white. There's Boundary Lands, Ranger, and Discerning Financier for certain decks. But let's go ahead and take the land here. And I think we're more than likely red-white. Ooh, Torch the Tower. I mean, yeah, Torch the Tower, pick 5. We'll take it. 1 mana, deal 2. Bargain it away to deal 3 and scry 1. Shrouded Shepherd. Fine card. Probably even play it in a red-white deck where you can't even cast the Cleave Shadows part. There's also Grabby Giant number 2, but we're taking Torch the Tower here pretty easily. Ooh, yeah, red is just wide open this draft. Another Belligerent to the Ball. 3 mana, 3/3. If you celebrated, you give a creature +1/+0 and Menace. It's also Dragon Mantle, which is a card I would play in red-white. When it ETBs, you draw a card, so it's basically free as long as they don't kill the creature from underneath you casting this. It gets +1/+0 until end of turn. Doesn't get flying, unfortunately, but we'll take another Belligerent here. Ooh, another Dutiful Griffin. 5 mana, 4/4 flyer. I mean, even in red-white aggro, this is a pretty good curve topper. There's a Ballgast, which is probably fine enough to put in the 2 spot. And then I don't really care about Belling Bruiser too much. So let's take the Dutiful Griffin here. Witch's Mark, only card I would consider. And I probably won't play it. I don't think Two Unveil Guide is good in really any deck. So I'll take the Red Cap Thief, but I probably don't want that one either here. Ooh, Ginger Brute. Ginger Brute, 1 mana, 1/1. You can make it effectively unblockable. Means if you suit it up with some roll tokens, it gets pretty darn good. Edgewall Pack, probably not for this deck, but I'll take it here. Ginger Brute number 2. Don't see why not. So we have a lack of 2-drops. Which means Do we take Sir Ginger here? Sir Ginger, 2 mana, 3/1. The first line of text is effectively irrelevant. And then whenever another artifact he controls put into a graveyard from the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on it and scry 1. How are we getting artifacts to the graveyard? Ginger Brutes. Is that it? That's pretty much the only way. We have another Hopeful Vigil and a Torch the Tower. I wonder if we take this Torch the Tower, if we wheel the Vigil here. I just don't think a random 2 mana 3/1 with not much upside in this deck is going to be great. I mean, I would play it. Like, if this wheels, I would play it. I don't think it wheels, though, because it's colorless. So I think we're taking Torch the Tower here. And trying to wheel Hopeful Vigil. Another Belligerent to the ball. Can you have too many 3-drops? My answer is no. I had all this in the the wrong things here. Enchanted creatures you control get +2/+2 for Tale of the Ages. I don't think that's our deck. I think our deck is Belligerent to the ball here. We have a ton of 1-drops. We have 4 1-drop permanents right now. There's Merry Bards as well, which is 4 mana to celebrate on 1 card, which is notably pretty good. Maybe that's even worth it over the ball here, but just a 3 mana 3/3 in an aggro deck is already pretty good. Ooh, Cooped Up and Hopeful Vigil. We are lacking the 2-drops to really put the pressure on our opponent in this deck. I love Gadwick's First Duel as well. I think this is one of the better blue uncommons in the entire set. But that is not us right now. So, Cooped Up, 2 mana enchant creature. Can't attack or block, and you can pay 3 to exile it. And there's also Hopeful Vigil. That's a 2 mana 2/2 Vigilance. This also celebrates on 1 card. I think Cooped Up is a better card, but because of our 2-drop situation, I think we have to take the Vigil here. Griffin Airy, F. Cheeky House Mouse, 1 mana 2/1. That's fine. Or you can have an adventure that gives a creature +1/+1 and can't be blocked by bigger creatures. There's another Ginger Brute and a Ratcatcher Trainee. This is close. The Trainee's Adventure... Oops, sorry. The Trainee's Adventure... They're the rat tokens. Celebrates. Gets you 2 rats, which is pretty good because we have 3 belligerents of the ball, which want to celebrate. So I think I'm going to take the Trainee as a 2-drop that also celebrates if you cast it on 3. Now there's... Oh, you have to take Glass Casket. This card's so good. 2 mana. Exile a creature till it leaves the battlefield with mana value 3 or less. Don't see how I can't take the Glass Casket here. Armory Mice. There's a Merry Bards as well. Again, I'd love to play a Merry Bards in this deck. A Trainee is also going to be fine, but we'll take Glass Casket here. Grand Ball Guest as a 2 mana 2/2 that might attack as a 3/3 trample. Or a Witchstalker Frenzy, 4 mana, deal 5 to a creature. Cost 1 less for each creature that attack this turn. That could be on your opponent's turn or your turn before blocks. Witchstalker Frenzy is great. We're going ahead and taking that. Ooh, we have the red-white uncommon adventure card. 3 mana 2/2. When it enters battlefield, creatures you control get +1/+0 and haste until end of turn, and it also has 5 mana to create 2 knights. I think that's pretty easily the pick here over a 3 mana 4/2. Kind of a larger combat trick and a 3rd Ginger Brute. So let's go ahead and take the Recruiter. Another Frantic Firebolt. Wait, what does this one do? Nightly Vour. 5 mana, you get a 2/2. An enchanted creature gets +2/+2 in vigilance. I don't think that's great. We currently have, is there a way to see how many instants and sorceries and stuff I have? I'm not sure. There we go. 5 instants, 1 sorcery for the firebolt. It's probably still good enough, I think. I'll take break the spell and probably not play it. Ooh, Mary Bard's Wield. Yes, please. Non-crescendo, probably not. Gingerbrute number 3. I mean, ooh, Mary Bard's Wield as well. And so did Grand Balgest. All right, so there's a lot of cuts that would have to be made in this deck. Um, Deck exported to clipboard. Let's see if I can do this. All right, that did work. These are all the cards I had in my sideboard over here that I'm probably not playing. There might be a way to deck build within the Draftmancer client, but I don't feel like trying it out there. Ruben, it is sealeddeck.tech, so you can practice building your deck if you export here card names, and then go to sealeddeck.tech, paste deck, and then you can just bring it right in here. Awesome, you had a lot of fun. What'd you end up in? Probably not red, considering I had all of the red cards. So, my deck, however, is looking to be red-white aggro-ish. I did end up with a good amount of early plays. I think all the belligerents are probably good, and so are at least one of the Gingerbrutes. White, black. Nice, nice. Did you actually play a couple of Slumbering Keep Guards in that deck? Or did you take any of them? I'll start with 3 Gingerbrutes and we'll see. Probably going to go down from there. I think a 3-mana 2/2 that draws a card is totally fine, even if you can't, you know, do the other part of it. Stockpiling Celebrant, I think, is okay. You can return something like Spear Guard or Veteran or Gingerbrute and just scry 2 for effectively free. Hopeful Vigils in the 2 spot, Glass Casket as well. Godric. Same with Imodane Ranger. I think the Firebolt, we'll see. Trainee is good. Cut In is good. Frenzy is good. And this is already 23. We need one more. I have Double Torch the Tower. Triple Belligerent. I already have, yeah, I've got, well, Double Torch, Cut In, and Frenzy, and Glass Casket as removal. Currently have 7 others. So 1, 2, 3, 4 spells for Firebolt, but we also have adventure cards like Trainee, Rain, or Recruiter. So we have like 5 cards and Acolyte, so 6 cards that make the Firebolt better. I think if we include one, we'd want to include more than one. I do really like Mary Bards in this deck as well. Like, a curve of Belligerent to the ball on 3. 3 mana 3/3. If it celebrates, a creature gives +1/+0 menace. Into Mary Bard's kicked on turn 4 to create a young hero roll. Celebrates by itself. And then you just give the Belligerent itself +1/+0 and menace, and you just start smashing in. What would not make the cut here then? The Gingerbrute is so good at celebrating, but I don't know if I need 3 of them. Like this is 26. If we cut down to, I think you'll find yourself also, you got all the candy grapples and cooped up. Yeah, it's gonna be pretty good. Those are really good removal spells. Candy, I saw the one candy grapple. Hopefully it didn't make its way all the way to you. If it did, that was like pick 7 or something. And I did pass the late cooped up as well. But I think the veteran's fine. It's always tough to make cuts in the first, 3 or 4 drafts of a format here. Maybe I can just play 2 Firebolts. I think all my 2s are good and have to stay. Maybe I play 1 Ginger Brute. And this is, this is 16 lands, but I probably want to play 17 lands. Which would mean I have to cut maybe one of the Merry Bards, I guess, potentially. And then play 17. All right, come on. Why'd you go on this side? That makes things so annoying. Well, you get the point, What do I think about Grave Pact? That's a great question. Some of these enchanting tales are like impossibly, like very impossible to rank here. So, Grave Pact is 4 mana. Whenever a creature you control dies, each other player sacrifices a creature. So, obviously, it has the ability to be very good. It also has the ability to do stone cold nothing, right? Like, you top deck this card when they have 2 creatures and you have 0. Like, it does literal nothing and then you just die. On the other hand, you're playing red-black sack and you have like 4 creatures and they have 2 and you have a sack outlet. You play Grave Pact, you wipe their whole board, you get value off of sacrificing things, and then you win. So I think it's like a win more card where if you're winning and you play Grave Pact, you're probably going to win more. And if you're losing and you play Grave Pact, you're not going to have a chance at winning. What does that mean on how I rank it? I don't know, like a C. Right? Just put it right in the middle. Sometimes it's going to be horrible, sometimes it's going to be great. I think you have to know your deck as well. If you have like a large creature deck, I think it's going to be best in black-red, where you can make a bunch of tokens, sacrifice those tokens, things like that. But yeah. So this is the deck I ended up with. A little light on the 2-drops. I didn't see a ton of them that I liked. I mean, there's Hopeful Vigil, but that's a little bit more for a black-white deck, potentially. Ratcatcher Trainee is probably one of the best 2-drops in this red-white deck here. We have 3 1-drops. Double Torch the Tower, Double Firebolt, Godric, Triple Belligerent, removal spells, and then Dutiful Griffins to close it out. That seems fine to me. So this is where I ended up. I'll go back to home here. Again, we'll keep this queue open. That link is still going to work for the rest of the day here. So join up if you want to join into a live draft as well. And as we get more people, if we ever reach 8, we'll have a perfect human draft of 8 people. Otherwise, if we get up to 3, 4, 5 after it's been sitting there for a while, we'll just kind of, we'll fire at that point. So yeah, with that in mind, I'm going to step out for a moment, use the bathroom and things, and be right back. Join up and join in the queue if you want. Hey Cody, all you gotta do is click that link. Click the link in the pinned the pinned comment here, and you'll be in the draft. Keep that window open, and I'll let you know if I can see your name in here, and you will be good to go. That's all you got to do. Now it says 2 out of 8. All right, what do y'all think of some rankings here? I am curious as to what everyone thinks about some of these cards. Let's take a look at white commons for a moment. I'm going to pull some of the white commons down that I am pretty high on, and then I'm going to see if I can get y'all's opinion on where you'd rank them. There's just a little bit of a delay here. I'm watching the stream on the side to know exactly what's happening when it's happening. So at this point is when I'm currently telling Cody how to join here. So I'm just making sure that he figures it out. I can also just throw something in chat. Let me go ahead and throw something in chat here. There you go. Looks like you joined. I see player 5C56. That's more than likely Cody if that's the one that he got in. So again, if you want to join live human pod drafts with me and other players in the stream, all you got to do is click that link in the pinned comment in chat. There's a banner blocking the link on your end. Oh, my bad. All right, let me go ahead and throw it back in here. Is anyone else having that problem? Anyone else can't click on it because of the banner? There we go. Now we got 4 in. Oh, Pozzo's in twice. You're going to draft twice? Okay, there you go. Now you're out. You're fine. Okay, we've got 3, so if this one isn't Cody, then Cody's going to join as well. There we go. Now we got 4. So go ahead and hop on in. Get your friends to join as well. The more the merrier. Before we get into that draft, all you got to do is keep that open. Okay, so Ruben said he wasn't having the issue. I threw it back in there in the chat, so hopefully that should get in there. All right, we got 5 now. Oh, now we got 4. Okay, we're going up and down and up and down. Come on. Let's fill it up. Let's get up to 8. There we go. Now we've got 5. We've got it. All right. White commons. These are my top 5, I'm pretty sure. Let me double check. Yeah. White commons, and I think my ranking right now might be something like this. 1 to 5. Now, Slumber and Keep Guard's obviously the hottest take out of all this, but what do y'all think about that? I'm curious. Throw in chat. Slumber and Keep Guard, good or bad? Rate it out of 10. How about that? I don't know. Give me a 7. Give me an 8. Give me a 5. Unplayable? 4? 3? I think this card is like eminently playable. And I'm going to be playing it tomorrow in early access. And no one's going to stop me until I just keep losing with it because it's probably just a bad card. But yeah. Oh, we went back down to 3. Oh, back up to 4. All right. You have to keep, for those of you that are in the Draftmancer lobby here, you have to keep this window open. I don't know if you keep closing the window and it keeps going up and down. But if you do want to draft, go ahead and get in the queue. Leave that window open and your spot is secured. You can't lose it as long as you keep the window open. So I've got my current white commons sitting like this, I think. Let's see. When it comes to blue, I've got Stopgap at number 1. 4 mana Costs 2 less to cast. If it was bargained, return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand and draw a card. It replaces itself. It's sorcery speed, but I mean, that's what I have as number 1. I don't think blue is great. It's going to be much more of a synergy color, I think. Misleading Motes, 4 mana. Target creature puts it, or target creature's owner puts it on the top or bottom. So we just saw this in the last set in Lord of the Rings with the card I'll never remember the name of. Yeah, not a chance I'll ever remember that name right now. But it was 4 mana. I think it was the same card, just that it was at instant speed as well. It was fine, but like not great. But I think that's actually one of Blue's best commons. Comes to Diminisher Witch. That, I think I have at number 2. 3 mana, 3/2 bargain. If it was bargained, you make a cursed roll attached to an opponent's creature. So you make one of their creatures into a 1/1. Pretty darn good. I do like Snaremaster Sprite as well, even in non-fairy decks. 1 mana, 1/1 flying. Or it's a 1 mana 3/3 flyer that taps and puts a stun counter on something. Not too bad there. Alright, if we can get up to at least 5 or 6, I'll go ahead and yeah, that's why when I see your comment, Ruben, not reading the cards. I'm not sure I can stream in more than 720 without having issues. Let me see. I've got it at 10,000 kilobytes per second video bit rate. I don't even know if that's the thing. But I also have it 60. Where was that at? Let me see. Yeah, 60 FPS. I think these are like the highest things I can set it to. Maybe for tomorrow, I'll do some testing once I get off this stream to see if I can try to get it up to 1080p for tomorrow's early access stream. I'm not positive I'll be able to, but hopefully that can get better for next time. Here on Draft Sim, I think these are readable. I mean, they're even not outstandingly readable to me, so maybe just full transparency, I have to use like a third-party software to stream here because I have a Mac, and streaming on Macs is not very easy. OBS is not a Mac optimized streaming software, so I have to like kind of go through hoops to stream, which means that potentially the streaming quality isn't going to be as great as if it was done straight from a PC, but I'm doing the best I can here, and these are the biggest I can make this. I mean, I don't think they get any bigger. Like, I can make them bigger, but that's as big as they get. So, I mean, like, that's why I have... Come on. No idea what happened up here. Okay. So I have this up here as well, just in case. So, so where I was with Johann Stopgap, you can probably see this one a little bit better, hopefully. 4 mana, bargain, sorcery speed, costs 2 if you bargain it, bounces a creature, or non-land permanent, and you draw a card. That's what I had at blue number 1, and Diminisher Witch, there's a lot of text on that card. But 3 mana, 3/2, you make a cursed roll if you do something as well. Yeah, I'll take a look at it. I'll take a look at it after this, Ruben. I'll do some tests before tomorrow's to try to make it as best as I can. Doing the best I can here. I'm also technologically illiterate. I still don't know how I'm actually doing this. I'm the kind of person that like would not be able to do this successfully, so I had to test doing this a ton just to make sure this all worked out right, and it seems like it does. I think I've got my my audio set where I want it at the very least. You can hear me talk, so that's step number one. But yeah. Awesome. Okay, we've currently got 4 people in the queue. It's been there for a little while. Last chance to join. We're going to fire this off with 4 people and 4 bots unless anybody else in chat wants to join in on another live draft with me and others. Currently have 4 in here. Myself, Ruben, and 2 other players to be named later. So go ahead and join if you'd like to get into the draft here. We'll get another human draft going. That was our last draft deck, for those of you that missed that one. We drafted red-white. Couple of Vigils, Glass Casket, Trainee. I think Trainee might actually end up being pretty crucial in a red-white deck. 2 mana, 2/1 first strike attacker. 3 mana, make 2 rats. Celebrates. Does all the things you want it to do. Seems good to me. Like me, belligerent to the balls. Yeah. Alright. I'll wait for this lag for the announcement, and then I'll get it going here. To be named later. Love it. Whoever you are, you have a great sense of humor. All right, 4 it is. 4 bots. We are going to go and head and start this now. Are you sure? Yes, I'm sure. Okay. We are all spaced out, passing to a bot and being passed to by a bot. So, there we go. All right, for me, I think it's going to be Talion's Messenger. Ooh, wait, I don't know. This is going to be a close one. Talion's Messenger, 3 mana, 1/3 flyer. Whenever you attack with 1 or more fairies, draw a card, discard a card. And whenever you discard a card this way, you put a counter on a fairy. It can be itself. 3 mana, 1/3 flyer that pumps itself and other fairies you control. Or there's Taken by Nightmares, which is arguably the best removal spell in the entire set. 4 mana, instant speed, exile a creature. If you control an enchantment, you also scry 2. It's kind of ridiculous, and I think I'm taking Taken by Nightmares, which is better than all of the commons, so I won't even look at them right now. I think it's between Taken by Nightmares and Talion's Messenger. There is an argument to taking the Messenger and then wheeling something like Ego Drain, which could be really good. Target opponent reveals... I mean, it's basically Thoughtseize without the life loss, but if you don't control a fairy, you have to exile a card from your hand, which is, like, garbage. So, oh my gosh, we got past a second Taken by Nightmares. I don't mind if I do. Thank you, bot number 4. So we'll be taking that. There's also Stab Wound, which I think is a very eminently playable Enchanting Tale, which is not common in the Enchanting Tale slot. Pun not intended. It's uncommon, but it's most of the Enchanting Tales are absolute garbage in this set. But this is one of the better ones. Also, Gadwick's first duel. If I had taken the fairy to start, I definitely would take Gadwick here, I think. I really like this card. 2 mana, make something a 1/1. Then you scry 2. Then you copy a 3 mana or less instant or sorcery on chapter 3. It's great. But we'll go ahead and take a second Taken by Nightmares here. Curiosity, don't think so. What about the black cards? Lord Skitter's Butcher. 3 mana, 2/3. When it ETBs, you make a rat, or you sacrifice a creature, scry 2, draw a card, or you give creatures you control menace. I think it's quite good. There's also Frantic Firebolt. I might be overrating this card. I'm not sure how often it's actually going to give you more than 2 damage. But think I'm going to go ahead and take the Butcher just to stay black here. And again, for those of you that are drafting with me, so to be named later and the other player and Ruben, you probably already know this. Don't throw what you've drafted in chat. It makes it less fun for all of us. And if you're still watching the stream, you can also just like mute me and draft by yourself just so you don't know what I'm passing you. Because obviously you can see what I'm doing here. Or you can watch my stream too and also just use that information to your advantage. Up to you. I'm not the boss of you. Okay, so black is starting to dry up, but there is a ton of green here, and Gingerbread Hunter is an outstanding green card. 5 mana, 5/5. When it ETBs, you make a food. That's already pretty darn good. And it has an instant puny snack as an adventure. Target creature gets -2/-2 until end of turn. Even if we don't play green, this adventure is probably still just good enough to put inside of a deck. So I think I'm taking Gingerbread Hunter and maybe looking to get into black-green here. It's also Welcome to Sweet Tooth, which is fine. There's Red Tooth Genealogist, which is fine. There's Ferocious Werefox, which is fine. And Return from the Wilds, which is fine minus. So take the Gingerbread Hunter. Sanguine Bond. Yeah, no. There's no life gain in this set, so why is this even like here? So many of these cards are just absolute trash. I think we'll take a Royal Treatment. 1 mana, target creature you control gains Hexproof, and you get a Royal Roll attached to it. There is the black-white creature land here. There's a combat trick, there's a bad 2-drop, but I think we'll go ahead and take the Royal Treatment here and look to see about black-green. Now there's Minstrosity. 2 mana, 3/1. When it dies, you make a food. Black-green in this format cares about food. To be named later, and the other player. Y'all are great. Troublemaker Oof is probably a card I would main deck. Vampiric Rite. Sack a creature, gain a life, draw a card. I don't think so. I think just a random Minstrosity is probably better than this. We don't have any sacrifice synergies yet. So I'll take the Minstrosity. Black is drying up quickly here, but I'm very incentivized to be black with double Taken by Nightmares. So my goal is to potentially identify a second open color, which right now I'm thinking might be green, and then get 2 or 3 black cards in the first 3 or 4 picks of each pack, have like 8 or 9 black cards, and then majority green cards. That's my thought at this point. Spider Food is effectively only a sideboard card in this format, I think. No one in blue-white. We've got Charade and Solitary Confinement here. No, Solitary Sanctuary, not Confinement. Black once again gone. There is a Frantic Firebolt, though. I do like that. But there's also a Red Tooth Genealogist, which is totally fine. 3 mana, 2/3, enters the battlefield, get a Royal Roll onto something else. And we've already got 2 2-drops here. So I think I'll take this as it goes well with the double 2-drop. The Ego Drain did wheel, so our plan could have worked had we taken that fairy, but we didn't. I think I'll just cut green here, because Ego Drain is wildly unplayable in a non-fairies deck. So let's take Bestial Bloodline. Probably put it in the sideboard. I don't really care about that card. Scarecrow Guide. 2 mana, 2/1 reach. Can fix your mana a little bit. There's also Grabby Giant, Protective Parents. Here you go. Misleading Motes was the card that I think is one of the top blue commons, but I kind of like our deck. We haven't drafted this one yet. Another Sanctuary. A Quick Study, but we'll cut black here. Another Red Tooth Genealogist. Don't mind if I do. Combat Trick. I'll keep it here for now. Might cut it. And a Stockpiling Celebrant Last Pick, which is one of my top 3 white commons. So maybe white's open too. Grasp of Fate. This is one of the better enchanting tales. 3 mana, exiles something for as long as you control it. But what do we have here? The only black card in the entire pack is Fell Horseman, which is not a great one. 4 mana 3/3. When it dies, it goes on the bottom, so you can't keep looping it with other Fell Horsemans because its adventure lets you return a creature card from your graveyard to your hand. But there's a bunch of decent green here. There's a Tough Cookie. 2 mana 2/2. When it ETBs, you get a food, and you can pay 3 to basically animate your foods to turn them into 4/4s. You can also pay 2, sacrifice it, because at the end of the day, it is a food. There's also Ferocious Werefox. I would love to wheel this card. 4 mana, 4/3 trample. You can have 2 mana to give something a monster roll at instant speed, notably. Also, red 2 Genealogist wheeling would be fine, but a Tough Cookie is another 2-drop to go with our 2 Genealogists already, so I'll take that here. How much food are we making for Sweet Tooth Witch? 3 mana, 3/2. So far, not a lot. But ideally we get a little bit more. There's also Voracious Vermin. Another Royal Treatment. I think this card is really good. Titanic Growth is fine. Warehouse Tabby is good, but I don't think it's good in green-black. So, I think I'll take Royal Treatment here. Hey Dan, just joined. Is the draft against bot or players out of interest? We are currently drafting with 4 players and 4 bots. The more players we get, the fewer bots we have to draft against. That's kind of how it goes. So I fired this one off with 4 players and 4 bots, but ideally we get 8 players. So just hang around till this draft is done if you want to join one, and we'll get you in the queue and just keep the window open and you'll be good to go. We've got Rowan's Grim Search, Scream Puff, a late Cooped Up. What is this one again? 3 mana, draw 2, lose 2, bargain. Then you kind of like pick out of the top 4 basically. Is that better than Scream Puff? I don't think it is in this deck. Scream Puff isn't great, but we'll take it here. Curse of the Werefox. There we go. 3 mana. Create a monster roll attached to target creature. And then when you do, the creature fights up to 1 creature you don't control. Awesome. Yeah, Dan, interested in joining the next one? As soon as this one's done, all you got to do is click the link and you will be added to the queue and you will stay right in there. You'll be good to go. Titanic Growth, Fairy Dream Thief. So we thought about, gosh, no one's in the blue-white deck. This deck doesn't seem good, but it seems fun. This seems exactly like the blue-green Scry deck from Lord of the Rings, where it seemed like a ton of fun, and I tried it a lot early, and then it was really bad. I think that's what's going to happen. But I think I'm going to take Shadow the Oath here. 5 mana, destroy a creature enchantment, get a Wicked roll. Sure. Why not? High Fae Negotiator. 5 mana, bargain, flying 3/5. When it ETBs, if it was bargain, it drains them for 3. Yeah, seems good to me. Dream Spoilers, I don't think is for this deck. I'm not sure we're in the exact right archetype here. I know black is wildly cut. Verdant Outrider, 3 mana 4/2, not great. Harriet's Whisper, a bit too expensive for me. I don't think I'm playing any of this. Commune with Nature's only card in our colors. Diminisher Witch in blue. So there's some good cards flying around, but then we wheel the Genealogist, so I think green is open too. Wow, Cooped Up wheeled as well. So no one's in blue-white, and I think there's lots of red-black at the table, and potentially lots of red-white and black-white too. But I'm going to try some black-green here. Tabby, I don't think Tabby is good in this deck. Yeah, we're not putting enchantments in the graveyard, so I'll take Titanic Growth. Probably won't play it. Put the tracker in the board, and then none of this really matters. And what do we get in pack 3 here? Hopefully a few good black cards, because right now we have like Taken by Nightmares, a Butcher, and then a bunch of green, and then some mediocre black here, so. All right. Fairy Fencing. We're not going to be controlling fairies. So this is going to be 3 mana -2/-2, 4 mana -3/-3. Those are all good. Oh, there's a Spellbook Vendor as well. This card is so good. But there's also a Hopeless Nightmare, which is a card I love, but how much bargaining are we doing? We have the Oof. We have High Fae Negotiator, and that's it. This card isn't super maximized in our deck. For that reason, I think I'll take the modal removal spell in Fairy Fencing. Would love to wheel Werefox or Beanstalk Worm or Hopeless Nightmare, but I don't think the Nightmare is coming back. Ooh, some decent options here. By decent, I mean pretty good. Bramble Familiar, 2 mana 2/2, Mana Dork. Can also discard a card to return it to its hand so you can cast the Adventure again, where you mill 7, put a creature, enchantment, or land onto the battlefield from among those cards. That's actually not great. That quest is pretty bad. So it's like a 2 mana 2/2 ramper that gets us to a couple of 4-drops that we don't care about casting super early. Is that better than a Red Tooth Vanguard, which is 2 mana 3/1 trample? And then it comes back to your hand with enchantments entering the battlefield. And Feed the Cauldron is a good removal spell. I think this is going to be good with 3 Red Tooth Genealogists in our deck, which is 3 mana 2/3 ETBs create a royal roll attached to another target creature. That makes 2-drops a lot better. Where did that go? Oh, here it is. Season of Growth. We saw one earlier, we didn't take it, so we're not going to take that one. Werefox, Rat Out, Welcome to Sweet Tooth. Creates a food. How much do we care about food? Currently, not that much. Yeah, we don't really have anything that cares about food right now. So Welcome to Sweet Tooth or Rat Out. I do like the Werefox. I think I want to try this card. We don't have any 4-drops yet, and it's an early combat trick. And by try this card, I mean just put it in my deck. Don't actually play it yet, because we're not playing out these matches. Rat Out, Welcome to Sweet Tooth. I think this card is slightly better, but I'll take my first Ferocious Werefox here. Another Royal Treatment. We currently have 12 creatures. Combat Trick, Wicked Visitor. I don't think that's a very good 2-drop. Not Dead After All, Return from the Wilds. There's a Glass Casket as well. Guess I'll take a 3rd Royal Treatment. Ooh, we got some goodies here. Oh, hello, Candy Grapple. 2 mana, -3/-3, instant speed, bargain, -5/-5. There's a lot of good cards here that I would love to put into my deck, but you can't pass a Candy Grapple. The Witch Stalker I don't think is good enough. There's a Rat Out, which I do like. There's a Tabby, but this isn't the deck for the Tabby. There's an Acolyte, but we're not casting the creature half of that, so I think we take Rat Out here. Oof. Hopeless Nightmare pick 7. How much bargain do we have now? We have a Candy Grapple, we have a Hyphae Negotiator, and that's it? And a Troublemaker Oof? I still think the card is good even if you don't bargain it. So I'll take it here. Oh, the other one wheeled! We did wheel the Hopeless Nightmare. Wow, okay. I'll take the second one then. Ooh, the Ferocious Werefox wheeled as well. Do I care about that more than a Beanstalk Worm? I think I do. I'll take the Werefox. Feed the Cauldron wheel. There we go. I think there's a better chance we would put that into our deck than a second Verdant Outrider. Oh, to be named later. You got 5 boosters. What you doing? I'm kidding. Take all the time you need. It's the first. It's like the first drafts of the set. You'll be fine. Not to mention, whenever I pass one, it goes straight through the bot and gets right to you. So, whenever I go quickly. Ooh, a Root Rider Fawn. Second to last pick? Yes, please. And a Sugar Rush Combat Trick. 29 cards in the deck. Always difficult to make cuts here. The first parts of the format. So for those of you that were in there, all right, so the queue is back open here. We've got the 4 that just drafted. Anybody else interested in joining? We've got a good amount of viewers here in the stream now, much more than we had before. So you are free to join in. Not that good at, I can't, it doesn't let me know what the other one is. It's fine. I was just joking with you. So here's the deck I ended up in black-green. Ruben says he thinks he got a pretty sweet Rats deck, which is more than likely red-black. What about the other 2 that we're drafting? Are y'all in chat here? Slow guy. What did y'all end up in? I'm guessing that red, like almost, there was probably 3 or 4 different drafters at that table that were in red. So were the other 2 of y'all in red as well? Who knows? Here's my deck. Gingerbread Hunter. Yep, red black it is for Ruben. Hyphae Negotiator. Taken by Nightmares, obviously. Michael said he used to be the other guy. So Michael's slow guy. Got Greta as the first pick. Are you also green-black, Michael? Rat Out, Monstrosity, I guess. Candy Grapple, Hopeless Nightmares. Red-White Celebration for Cody. That makes sense. Another red-black. Try to go green-black food. What would you say, Michael? Would you say your deck looks better or worse than mine? I'm just curious. I mean, it's not a competition. I just don't know. It's early on. We can just use each other to bounce ideas. I like the genealogists, I think. Werefox seems fine. Oof seems fine. Oh, not very good. Okay. I think you were sitting downstream from me. So I was passing to you and I was also in green blacks. That's probably why yours ended up being not quite as good. Fawn seems fine. Bramble seems fine. Royal Treatments seem good. And now we'd still have to cut 2 cards from this. Probably cut a Scream Puff because we don't have food synergies. And then everything else seems okay. Only 13 creatures though, which is Not great, not exactly where you want to be, but seems fine. So Michael and Cody, you are still in for the queued up for the next draft if you want to stay in. Just letting you know, if I do fire that one off, you will be in it. So if you would like to leave, you feel free to. Otherwise, feel free to stay in for the next one as well. This is 24. I'd probably need to cut one more card. Maybe one of the genealogists. Um, I don't want to cut the oof because it's a bargain card for nightmares. So is grapple. We only have 3 bargain cards for these nightmares, but I think they're still good on their own. Awesome, Michael. Good to have you. We'll have you in for one more. Um, Again, for everybody else in the stream, we are doing drafts against each other here. There is a pinned comment that you can go ahead, just click the link. You'll be immediately thrown into the queue to join the next live draft against humans. If we can get 3 more, we'll have a full human pod draft. Can we get 3 more? Send it to your friends. Send it to those not watching the stream. Let them join in, get a draft in. Who needs work, right? This is probably the deck that I ended up with in my last one here, and maybe 1 royal treatment. I don't want to cut another creature. We're only at 13, so this is probably what I would be running right here with lands that I don't feel like moving down here. Seems fine, not very powerful. We don't have any rares except the Bramble Familiar. Cody, buy local stores only do sealed. I'm not sure I've ever seen a pre-release that has draft. That would be great though. Usually what they try to do is the first weekend, which is sealed, the next weekend, which is going to be the weekend of September the 8th, 9th, and 10th, they do what's called draft weekend, where you go and you just draft a couple times on Saturday and Sunday, but where I live, those usually never fire. People don't show up for that. So, just sealed. All right, so this is where I ended up. Not too bad. It seems like a pretty common and uncommon centric format so far. Like, there weren't many rares that kind of pulled me out of this deck. And for those of you that are here and don't remember, tomorrow at 1:30 Eastern, I will be streaming early access on on MTG Arena, playing against other content creators. So that should be fun. Stick around for that one tomorrow. It'll be a fun time. Currently have 4 in the queue. Anybody else want to join? Let's get up to at least 5 again. Actually, we had 4 last time or 5 last time? I think we had 4. See if we can get up to 5. All right, currently at 5. Awesome. Anybody else? Just threw the 2-minute warning in chat, so I'll give it 2 minutes for others to join as well. I guess I can make this session public. Don't know exactly what that means, but maybe that means others can find it and join in as well that aren't currently in our stream. Not super familiar with exactly how Draftmancer works, but so Michael said he tried to splash in red for food fight in his green black deck. Food fight. 2 mana enchantment. Artifacts you control have 2 sacrifice that deals damage to any target 1 plus the number of permanents named food fight you control. That doesn't seem very good to me, only because it's 2 each artifact you control have 2 sacrifices that deals 2 damage to something. I guess if you have like a ton of food, maybe it's worth it, but I'm not sure. Beseech the mirror, you say, Ruben? Yeah, this card is the chase card of the set so far, I've heard, for Constructed. For Limited, I think it's hot garbage. I think it's unplayable in Limited. However, in Constructed, the play pattern I've seen advertised in Modern and things is like it all revolves around the One Ring from Lord of the Rings, where you sacrifice your One Ring to bargain once it's gotten too high, and then you go ahead and search your library for a card. You can get Shieldred, you can get another One Ring. Um, it also casts the One Ring because the cast trigger gets you gets you protection until your next turn. You can also just get Shieldred because Shieldred is stupid and incredible. This is going to be a great card in Modern and things like that. In Limited, see, you can already see over here US dollars 29, 42 euros. It's kind of stupid. um, for Limited, it's just a bad tutor that you shouldn't be playing. But we gave the 2-minute warning, and we've got 5 of us here in the draft. Let's get another draft here fired. 3 bots, 5 of us going. So let's draft. All right, what are we doing in Pack 1 Pick 1? It's not going to be the Enchanting Tales, as it basically never will be unless there's Bitter Blossom. Extraordinary Journey. I'll let you read. My voice is starting to go on me. I gotta save it for tomorrow because I'm streaming for a long time, so you can just read. I'll be taking Candy Grapple, though, because this card is outstanding. The Coven seems relatively okay, too. 4 mana, 2/3 flyer. When it ETBs, they discard a card, and you can also, like, remand something with its adventure for 3 mana. That's, like, pretty darn good. Ruben is passing right to me now. Take Candy Grapple, Pack 1, Pick 1. All right. Now, for those of you Commander players out there, you probably see this card and you're like, oh my gosh, I need to take Smothering Tithe. I'm under the impression this is not going to be very good in Limited. It's an entire card and 4 mana to start getting a couple treasures back. I just don't think it's good enough. So I'm not going to take it or play it. Stone Splitter Bolt, good removal spell, great with bargain. High Negotiator is a good card. I think so too. But I think I'm going to take me a Hopeless Nightmare. Hopeless Nightmare and Candy Grapple. I mean, name a better pair. I'll wait. So we'll take the Hopeless Nightmare here. ETBs, they discard a card, lose 2 life, and then you sacrifice it to bargain, give something -5/-5, and scry 2. Like, how good? These are both commons too. What are we taking here? Probably never stalked by nightmares. 4 mana, 2/2 menace. When it ETBs, return target creature card or enchantment card from your graveyard to your hand, which is already great. And whenever an enchantment you control is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on it and scry 1. I think that's better than like a random Rowan's Grim Search, or even moving into red for Two-Headed Hunter, or moving into green for Galefang, which this is a card I love. But I'm going to take Neva here. Pass me Hopeless Nightmare, I take Hopeless Nightmare. I'm looking to get into black-white in this deck here, and wouldn't mind wheeling Archon's Glory here as another bargain spell. So let's take Hopeless. So Savior of the Sleeping, 3 mana, 2/3 Vigilance. Whenever an enchantment I control is put into the graveyard from the battlefield, put a counter on it. Seems fine. That's kind of the direction we're heading. There's also Celebrant, which is fine. I mean, Celebrant is outstanding with Hopeless Nightmare. I didn't even see that. Wow. That is great. Okay, I think we have to take Celebrant for that reason. 3 mana, 3/2. ETBs return into another target non-land permanent I control to my hand. If I do, scry 2. Then we get another 1-drop enchantment that makes them discard a card and lose 2 life. Yeah, we are doing it here. All right, black is already cut, because always. Black in every set all the time is always cut. So what are we taking? What does this one do again? Tempting Apple. ETB, so it's like an act of treason. Sacrifice it to make them lose 3. It's not great. It's 4 mana. Besotted Knight. I don't think this is very good, but I don't think anything else in this pack is very good either. I guess Frostbridge Guard is like fine-ish, but I think I'm going to take Besotted Knight and hopefully not play it. Another guard, a Shatter the Oath here. Doesn't have bargain there. The Conceited Witch, 3 mana, 2/3 menace, get a wicked roll with its adventure and a Minstrosity. Ideally not playing any of these either. I guess I'll take the Witch. But I'm looking for some bargain cards. I'm looking for Slumbering Keep guards. I'm looking for, you know, things like that. Speak of the devil, here comes the train. Usually cut these out of the VODs, but now you get all the train in all of its glory right here. Alright, we got another Witch, another Shatter, and a Charmed Clothier. 5 mana, 3/3 flyer. Get a Royal Roll. Yeah, I think I'll take that here over another Witch or a Shatter. It just gives us another thing to bargain away once we ideally find some more bargain spells. Knightly Valor, 5 mana, creature gets +2/+2 in Vigilance, and you make a 2/2. It's probably better than a Frostbridge Guard. I guess I'll take it, but I don't know if I'll play that. It's pretty expensive. If an opponent kills a creature from underneath this, that is such a disaster. Okay, lots of black wheeled, and so did Rowan's Grim Search. It's another bargain card, and with double Nightmare already, we'll take basically anything that says bargain on it. 3 mana, draw 2, discard 2, and if you bargain it, you look at the top 4, then 2 on the back, 2 on the top, 2 in the graveyard, and then you draw those 2. So you kind of get to set it up a little bit. Moment of Valor destroys a big creature. Unassuming Sage is a 2 mana 2/2 or a 4 mana 3/3. And another Besotted Knight. I don't really care about any of these cards, and I'm ideally not playing them here. Archon's Glory did wheel. Let's go. That's the one we were looking for. 1 mana +2/+2. And if you bargain it, it gets flying and lifelink. And we do want to bargain it because of double Nightmare and maybe even more than 2 Nightmares if we get lucky in pack 2 and 3. Sugar Rush, Combat Trick. And a last pick, Edgewall pack. All right, what do we find in pack 2? You find a doubling season. Here you go. This is how you make your money back, Ruben. What is this card going for right now? $51? There you go. Normal 51 US dollars for an Enchanting Tales doubling season. Okay. What do we have? We've got a Stroke of Midnight. The only black card's Minstrosity. Don't care too much about that one. At least not in this deck. But there is a Stroke of Midnight. 3 mana, destroy an online permanent. Its controller makes a 1/1 human. It's not great. It's not premium removal. But I still think it's fine. We got a little unlucky with this pack. There's some decent red. There's some decent green. But we're pretty solidly black-white. Ooh. Okay. This is interesting. I think we have to take another Neva here. I'll let you read that one. That is exactly what our deck is trying to do. Is exactly what Neva says. Don't think Rat outwheels, but if it does, I would love to play one. 1 mana -1/-1, make a Rat. Voracious Vermin is probably another card I would play. Gives us more bargain fodder with the 1/1 Rat. But we will take Neva here. Cooped Up, great removal spell. And for those of you that weren't here early when I told you, there's a fun thing you can do with Cooped Up in this format. So 2 mana, enchant a creature, enchanted creature can't attack or block. 3 mana, exile enchanted creature. What you can do is you can put that on the stack. You can pay 3 mana to exile the creature. Hold full control on Arena or hold priority at your pre-release. Bargain Cooped Up away to a different effect, like, you know, Rowan's Grim Search. And then you get the bargained effect, you get the the additional bonus of the bargain. You also still get to exile the creature with Cooped Up. I think that makes this removal spell quite good in this format. So we're going to go ahead and take Cooped Up here. only have Rat Out or Moment of Valor for us, and Rat Out is a card I do not mind, so I'll take it here. Got a Chancellor, a Sir Armont, some fun build-arounds, Leyline of the Void. Is that card worth anything? It's been reprinted so many times. Yeah, it's $3. That's something. It's unplayable and limited, but, you know. We'll take Rat Out here. Alright, black is completely gone. But there is a Woodland Acolyte. Now, don't forget that these adventure creatures, you can put them into your deck even if you can't cast the adventure, right? 3 mana 2/2 ETB's draw card is just a good card. Like, that's just fine. I think it's better than Stroke of Midnight, and it's better than Break the Spell. So we're just going to play a Woodland Acolyte in our 3-drop slot here. Ooh, this is tough. There's the black-white creature land, which I think is pretty good. There's also Archon's Glory as another bargain spell. This is a tough pick. I think I'm going to take the creature land because lands are just so high value to take here. Looks like my dog is coming to explore what's going on here. Got another Sage, another Knight, another Mice, another Knightly Valor. I don't know how many of these I'm actually playing, if any. We're a little light on 2s right now. Maybe that means Sage or Mice will be better. The Sage can make an enchantment that we can bargain away at some point too, so guess I'll take the Sage. Ooh, Feed the Cauldron, pick 8. Oh, and Grasp of Fate. Oh, geez. I think it's got to be Grasp of Fate. 3 mana, exile and a creature, or a non-land permanent until it leaves the battlefield. That's definitely going to be the pick. I would take a Feed the Cauldron. I'd probably play both of these cards too, but let's take Grasp of Fate. You could probably hear his nails running against the ground here. He's exploring what's going on with the live stream. Alright, Moment of Valor. I don't think this is a card I want to start by main decking in this format. I know, you want all the pets right now. I know. But it's the only card we can really take here. So I'll just throw that right in the sideboard. I can move these Sages in at some point, but I don't really think I want to start them there. I know. Well, more white cards? Tale for the Ages. What are we doing? We have Sages that could be enchanted. That's about it. Armory Mice is just a 2 mana 3/1 that can trade with something. I think I will take that over a third Sage. Ego Drain, not for this deck. Screen Puff, sure, whatever. Moment of Valor. Wow, second to last pick Diminisher Witch for someone. I do like that card. Tangible Virtue. Last pick Diminisher Witch. That's my second best blue common. Do people not like it? Alright, Enchanting Tale, what are you? Whenever a spell or an ability an opponent controls destroys a non-creature permanent, you may destroy target permanent. I don't think so. This is going to be a tough pick between Tangled Colony, which is great. A great 2 mana card. 2 mana, 3/2. Can't block, though. And when it dies, you create X rats, where it was that the amount of damage dealt to it. Or there's just Taken by Nightmares. 4 mana, exile a creature if you control an enchantment scry 2. I think I'm going to take Taken by Nightmares, but this could be wrong because of Tangled Colony being a 2-drop, and I need those. But I love I love Taken by Nightmares so much. So I'm going to take that here. After this draft, I might have to go let the dog out. Seems like that's what he wants. Oppression. No. Whenever a player casts a spell, that player discards a card. That includes you, so no thanks. There is, however, a Dutiful Griffin here. 5 mana, 4/4 flyer with upside. Could you imagine if you sacrificed both of these Hopeless Nightmares to the Dutiful Griffin to get it back to your hand? You'd scry 4? Think we'll take the Dutiful Griffin here. Another Oppression, but there is a Feed the Cauldron, an Archon's Glory, and an Unassuming Sage. We only have 6 creatures right now. Yikes. I know. Hold on. You have to wait. I have to finish the draft. I think I'll take Feed the Cauldron. We've already got some 2-drops we can throw in if we want to. Callous Sellsword. Can't cast its Adventure half, but 2 mana, 2/2. ETBs with a 1/1 counter on it for each creature that died under your control this turn. It's probably not going to be very many. So do we just take another Feed the Cauldron here? I think so. Ooh, Hopeless Nightmare. You're not going to see me passing a Hopeless Nightmare. It's almost done, bud. You'll get to go out in a moment. We gotta finish here. I know. Ooh, another Dutiful Griffin. And a Hopeful Vigil. Oof. I think we have to take the 2-drop. I love a Dutiful Griffin, but 2 mana, 2/2 Vigilance, and it's more bargain fodder, and we just don't have any 2-drops here, so we have to take that. Ooh, Knight of Doves. I love it. 3 mana, 1/3. Whenever an enchantment you control is put into the graveyard from the battlefield, make a 1/1. We have 3 Nightmares, plenty of bargains. We have Hopeful Vigil. We have Cooped Up. I mean, all of this stuff works so well with Dutiful Night, or with Knight of Doves. So we are keeping that. Currently 22 cards. Another Feed the Cauldron. Lots of black and white here. I don't think we need Reindeer. I don't think we need Horsemen. 3 Feed the Cauldrons, is that too much? No, I think it's fine. I think that means we can move out Stroke of Midnight, because I think Feed the Cauldron might just be better. Savior of the Sleeping? Maybe. This is tough here. We have 22 cards in right now. I think this deck is great. I wouldn't mind cutting the Grim Search, but we need all the bargain we can get. And I'm probably going to have to put in something like Unassuming Sage here. Just as another creature, since we only have like 9. We're just like an enchantment value removal deck here. I think I'll put that into the sideboard. Yeah, I don't think I'm playing any of this stuff either. I mean, I like everything else I have. Our 3s are a little crowded, but currently have one, now three-ish, just two bargain spells. Is that it? That's not good. All right, I'm gonna export this, bring it over here, paste it, and build over here. And I will be back in a moment after I let the dog outside. Come on, let's go. Come on, let's go. All right, so we're very light on creatures. Ruben says he was green-white. Interesting. Did you get any Sir Armonts? There was one or two of those that was going around. Um, I mean, this would just be the deck right now. We've got Double Grim Search. Edgar, you're free to join right now. We've got 4 in the next queue. All you got to do is click the link and you're in. So we've got Double Grim Search and Archon's Glory as the only ways to bargain. We've got to keep the Grim... Oh, and Candy Grapple. I forgot about that one. I think we've got to keep Double Grim Search in just to bargain away some of this stuff. I mean, we don't have to. The Nightmares can put themselves in the graveyard. It's just... It's so much better if you're able to bargain it away. What if we, like, took one of these out and played just another Sage as another 2-drop? We only have one 2-drop if we don't play a second Sage. That's what I'm worried about a little bit about, is the amount of 2-drops. But I mean, the deck seems okay. Again, like, we just don't have rares. This might be another set that doesn't really care about rares. Dan says he was blue-red. Pretty nice looking spells deck with 2 catapults and 2 frolicking familiars. I'm interested to see if the catapult is going to be good in this set. Because this is basically Thermo Alchemist for 1 more mana and 1 more toughness. And Thermo Alchemist is like really good. It like ruined the last format it was common in. And when it got reprinted, they moved it up to uncommon. Yeah, Ruben, you can head on out. I'm probably going to be streaming for maybe another half an hour or so, so you might miss the end of it. But thanks for drafting with us today. It was a blast. So yeah, Unruly Catapult is just as good as Thermo Alchemist for 1 more mana and 1 more toughness. It's basically the exact same thing. And this card is busted. So it could be a really good deck that you've got over there, Dan. Pretty sure this is my build. Y'all can take a closer look at that one. Cody said he took the blue-green signpost twice and Red Riding Hood, which is Ruby Daring Tracker, once. So probably ended some sort of green deck. Don't know if he ended up in like a Teamer splashing around or blue-green ramp. Things like that. Like, where is... These rares are just not that great. Let's see. Rare, mythic, any color. Like, how many of these are just, like, bombs? Spellbook Vendor probably is. Bodyguard's close. Archon definitely is. That's one of the better cards. Cavalry's close, but it's 8 mana? these virtues. I mean, like, some of these are good, but they're not like bombs here, you know? Lock Whale, I think, is close. Hellkite is. Hilda's Crown of Winter. That might be the best pack one pick one in the entire set. 3 mana, it's like an Icy Manipulator, but 1 cheaper, and it's free on your turn, and you can pay 3 and draw cards and sacrifice it. It's just great. It's so good. So yeah. Oh, I love Hilda too. I'd love to build around Hilda at some point in this format, but we'll see. So, yep. Gotta go check on the dog. I'll be right back. Again, if you want to join the draft queue, all you gotta do is click the link in the pinned comment and you'll be right in. Leave your browser open and you'll be in the next draft. Michael says he went black, red, aggro, quite light on rat, small bargain sub team. That seems about right. I think Black Red is going to be one of the more highly drafted decks in this format. So go ahead and join if you want. Obby will be right back. All right, we are back. Michael has left. Thanks for stopping by, Michael. Hopefully see you tomorrow during early access. I think this will be our last pod draft once we fill this one up here. I'm going to go ahead and see if I can get one more in. So if you are interested, go ahead and click the link in the pinned comment and join up. I was looking at some of the rares here. Obviously Ashiok, because that card's stupid. Virtue of Persistence. I mean, these are like the only bombs that I'm really seeing. Decadent Dragon, I think, is another one. Virtue of Loyalty is great as well. Gruff, this card is stupid. I don't know if you can read it. I'm going to make it bigger for you. Gruff Triplet, 6 mana for a 3/3. Trample. Pretty bad. However, hear me out. When it ETBs, if it isn't a token, you create 2 token copies of it. So now you have a 6 mana for 3 3/3s. Okay. Then when it dies, you put a number of +1/+1 counters equal to its power on each creature you control named Gruff Triplets. So you have 3/3/3s. One of them dies, you then have 2/6/6s. If one of those dies, you then have a 12/12. And they all have trample. Good luck ever beating this card if it resolves. This is probably the best card in the set, in my opinion. I mean, I'm kind of looking around at other quote-unquote bombs, and yeah, I think Gruff Triplets is #1, followed by like maybe Ashiok or even Archon of the Wild Rose, which is great. Virtue of Loyalty might be up there. Virtue of Persistence might be up there. But Gruff Triplets is just stupid. All right, trying to get one more draft in. We've got 3 players currently. Go ahead and hop on in by clicking the link in the pinned comment, and we'll get one more draft. Speaking of Decadent Dragon, I opened up a quick draft here on Draft Sim. And Decadent Dragon is kind of busted. Oh, look, and then there's a Totentons to follow it up. Awesome, got 4 now. Let's get one more in there. Can we get up to 5? 5 is the magic number. Actually, 8's the magic number, but haven't quite gotten there today, so we'll be all right. What if we took Totentons and just forced black-red? Ooh, Hopeless Nightmare. It's a pretty darn good start to a draft, if you ask me. See if we can do that over here. Oh, jeez. Copied my entire deck list into chat. It's not exactly what I wanted to do. This is my last draft deck with 5 people and 3 bots in the queue. 3 Hopeless Nightmares, a Cooped Up, just light on 2 drops with 2 Sages, and that's it. And a Vigil, I guess, is a 2 drop as well. Then we have 3 Feed the Cauldron removals, a Knight of Doves, which synergizes great with our deck. Savior of the Sleeping. Stockpiling Celebrant, really good with triple Hopeless Nightmare. So, yeah. All right, we're down to 3. Let's get one more. One more and we'll fire it off. Just click that link in the pinned comment or my most recent comment there, and you will be good to go. All right, looks like we got, oh, we had 3 and now we got 2. I was about to fire it off. Oh, there we go. Cody's back in. All right. Now we got 3. And I think we'll fire it off with 3 here. So let's get started with the last. Oh, 4. Here we go. One more. All right. So the last practice draft of the day here. Let's get going. Dawn of Hope, unplayable. Spiteful Hexmage, 1 mana 3/2. But when it ETBs, you have to make one of your creatures a 1/1. I don't know how good that is. I mean, it's probably fine in like bargain decks, but I don't think you're supposed to take this if you don't already know that you're in a bargain deck. So I'm not going to take it. I'm looking at Cut In the commons. 4 mana, deal 4 to a target creature, create a young hero roll token. I think that's the best of all of the commons here, except maybe Celebrant is pretty close. But again, this is much more of a synergy card in certain decks, and we don't know if we're going to be in those decks, but Cut-In's just a generically good card. So we'll take Cut-In. Which one is this one? Other enchantments you control have Shroud, and enchanted creatures you control have Shroud. No. There's another Cut-In. Can't go wrong with 2 removal spells to start. There's a Merry Bards, which is great on the wheel, but I don't think it wheels. Oh, here you go. Now you can see some of the rolls, although it's upside down. I think we're just taking another Cut-In here. All right. If we follow it up with the red card, we've got 5 mana 4/4 haste with an adventure that can make some things not block. I don't think that's good enough. All the comments here are pretty bad. We do have Corvold and the Noble Thief. Which is a card I don't like. Princess Takes Flight is fine, but there's Feed the Cauldron here as a removal spell. Why don't we just play black-red removal here? Alright guys, I already have a pet card this format. It's called Hopeless Nightmare. However, this deck is looking like a Frantic Firebolt deck already, right? I mean, every card we have is an instant or sorcery. It already buffs itself. It's going to be like 3 mana, deal 4, deal 5 a lot of the time. And Hopeless Nightmare is much more of a synergy card. Let's just take another removal spell, because why not? Twisted Sewer Witch. What's this one? 5 mana, 3/4, make a rat. Ooh, and you also get to... all your rats get wicked rolls. There's a Spear Guard as well, but this seems pretty good in a rat deck. I would definitely play Spear Guard, but let's try Twisted Sewer Witch here. That's a late Gingerbread Hunter, and honestly, I might take it because the adventure half is fine. 3 mana -2/2 instant speed, that's fine. It's either that or Dragon Mantle, and we're looking to be much more of like a controlling deck with value creatures. Let's take the Hunter here and see where that goes. Here's a Keep Guard. What is Aggravated Assault? I have no idea if this is good. Anybody play Commander or something that thinks this is good? Or it's probably, I mean, obviously it's probably pretty good in Commander, but like in Limited, I don't know what set it was originally printed in, but was it good there? Because it just seems way too swingy. So Bellowing Bruiser is a Sweet Tooth Witch. 3 mana 4/2 with a combat trick on it. I don't really like most of these cards here. Guess I'll take, no. Yeah, I'll just take the Bruiser. It doesn't really matter. Probably not playing any of them. Sanguine Bond, no thanks. Gnawing Crescendo, probably not. White and green are looking to be open here, so I wonder if I should take a green card and potentially switch into maybe a black-green or something We do have a lot of red removal already. Yeah, see? This is the wheel, and 4 green cards came back. Boundary Lands Ranger is a 2-mana 2/2 with potential upside. Guess I'll take that and cut red. Ooh, Mary Bards did wheel. Okay. Crystal Grotto could actually also be fine in this deck if we end up having a splash green or something. Ooh, Prophetic Prism. Or Scarecrow Guide. Eh, both of these are pretty bad, but I'll take one. Alright, what do we got here? If we're thinking black-red, there's a Voracious Vermin, which can be fine. There's a Hamlet Glutton. This is the first time I've seen or talked about this card all stream today. 7 mana, 6/6, bargain. Trample when ETBs gain 3 life, and it was bargain. It's a 5 mana, 6/6. I do like me a Hamlet Glutton. What if we go green-red? That seems totally fine. We're giving up on a Feed the Cauldron and a Twisted Sewer Witch. I think the Glutton is better than Thief or Vermin here, so let's take that. Someone passed me. And I mean bot number 1 passed me Hilda's Crown of Winter. This card is so good. 3 mana. 1 tap to tap a creature. And it's free on your turn if you're aggressive. And you can pay 3 and sacrifice it to draw a card for each tapped creature your opponents control. The card is so good. There's also Frantic Firebolt. But we're going to take Crown of Winter. Alright, now we've got another cut-in, a first Curse of the Werefox. If there's a deck that Verdant Outrider goes in, it's probably red-green. I think we're going to have to pick up some cheaper creatures too, which has been a theme of today. But I'm going to take the Curse and maybe the Verdant Outrider Wheels. Okay, well this is a cheaper creature that goes right into red-green. It's not like a great one or anything, but it is fine. There's a Verdant Outrider here as well. Maybe that one can wheel. So let's take the 2-drop here. Oof, pick 5 Candy Grapple. It's either that or just a random Gnawing Crescendo. I have to take the Candy Grapple, don't I? Yeah, I have to. Okay, so Toadstool Mire is not the early creature we want. There is a Witchstalker Frenzy, which is a great removal spell. There's also a Grabby Giant, which is a great card for this deck. I think I have to take the Frenzy because of how good of a removal spell it is. Belligerent to the Ball is not going to be great in this kind of deck. It's just going to be a 3 mana 3/3, which is fine, but like not outstanding. Ratcatcher Trainee, we're probably not going to be super aggressive. Jam, yes, I would say yes. However, this will be our last draft here on this stream, but go ahead and check back tomorrow for early access. I'll be playing early access against other content creators. Would have loved to have you earlier, but it is what it is. I got to end the stream after this one, but thanks for stopping in. There is a Verdant Outrider as well. I think I don't really like most of those cards. Gosh, another cut-in. I mean, sure. A Red Cap Thief, maybe? I don't think I want Bruisers. The Verdant Outrider did wheel. Don't think I'll play any of these here. So I'd love another Hamlet Glutton. I'd love one of the uncommons, you know, like the 5 mana one that fights things when you um, bargain it. But instead, we get a Torch the Tower, which is fine. 1 mana deal 2, bargains, deals 3 scry 1, and it exiles. There's a Candy Grapple here, but I think we're pretty locked into red green. So let's take Torch the Tower. A Monstrous Rage, a Toadstool Admirer, and another Redcap Thief. We only have 10 creatures, but Rage is so good. 1 mana +3/+1. Create a monster roll. I think I'll take it. I have to get my 2-drops up here. I guess that means I have to take a Grand Ballgast? We're not really going to be celebrating too much. So this is just a 2 mana 2/2. But we've got Royal Treatment. We've got Monstrous Rage. We've got removal. Curse of the Werefox. I guess I'll just take the 2-drop. Another Torch the Tower. Sure. Over a Toadstool Admirer. Graceful Takedown. Merry Bard's Verdant Outrider. What do we care about power 4 or greater? The Witchstalker and the Boundarylands Ranger? I mean, Witchstalker into Verdant Outrider is a pretty good curve. I don't know if I'll play 3 of these. I guess I'll take the Merry Bards then. I don't think the removal is exactly what this deck is looking for. We have plenty of removal. Troublemaker Oof, there we go. That's a 2-drop I can play. We'll take that one. 2 mana 2/2 bargain, and if it was bargained, you exile an artifact or enchantment. Ooh, Curse of the Werefox. Ooh, Embereth Veteran though. We have so much removal already. I just want to take the good value cheap creature here. And probably be cutting these. Currently at 23, so this looks like the deck right now. We'll see if anything replaces it. Another Oof, or an Imadane's 3 mana 2/2 ETBs. Creatures you control get +1/+0 and to gain haste till end of turn. Guess that means I'm taking this here. Can play Brave the Wilds and 16 lands because it's effectively free. What does that mean I would cut? Maybe a Redcap Thief? I don't think I'm playing Toadstool Admirer even in this deck. 12 creatures, lots of removal. There's another Outrider. I don't think I'm playing it though. And a combat trick. Is the Outrider better than Merry Bards in this deck? I don't think it is. So this looks to be where I ended up this time. And that would just be the deck down there based on what I built. Although I have it, it's reversed. So my deck is up here. Sideboard has 40, main deck has 18, but this would be the deck. And I don't feel like moving at all. So Hilda's Crown of Winter, not as many creatures as I would have wanted, but tons of removal. Double Torch the Tower, triple Cut In, Witchstalker Frenzy, Frantic Firebolt, Curse of the Werefox, all as removal, and then just some creatures that can push through. You know, a couple of Troublemaker oofs at the bottom as 2/2s. Emperor's Veteran is an aggressive creature, Combat Trick in Monstrous Rage, and 16 lands because we have a Brave the Wilds. Cody got every tap effect. I'm suspect of the blue-white tap deck. Do you think you got there? Does it look like a good deck? Because the common payoffs and uncommon payoffs don't really look to be that great. Unless you get like Hilda, the mythic rare, or Charade, the uncommon. Those are good. But like if you don't have those cards on the battlefield, it seems like that deck is not going to be that great when you just like tap a creature, put a stun counter on it, and move on with your life. That doesn't seem very good. So does your deck seem like a good version of it? I'm going to go ahead and... Actually, I don't know if this... If I close this out, if this affects your deck building, so I'll leave it up for a while. He says no. So you drafted every single tap effect, and it still doesn't look good. Yeah, I'm suspect of that deck. I want it to be good. I just don't think it will be. Doesn't mean I won't try it. I mean, I'm still going to try it for y'all. But I think you need... Like, if you pack one, pick one... Hilda... I think you can make it work. Because this card is so incredibly good. Like, if you can do this and then protect it with some, you know, protection spells and stuff... That's incredible. Between Hilda and Charade... These two cards are great for that deck, but that's about it. There's not much more. Like, they've got that other uncommon, what is it called? Solitary Sanctuary. Like this one, come on, type correct. 3 mana when ETBs tap a creature, put a stun counter on it. Whenever you tap an untapped creature, you put a 1/1 counter. I don't know if that's a good payoff. So, tomorrow's early access stream starts at 1:30 p.m. Eastern time. And ideally I'll go for 5 or 6 hours. Ideally, get 4 or 5 drafts in, something like that, sealed if people want to see it. So yes, 1:30 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. And here's our last deck. So we drafted a ton of different decks today. We got black-white in, we got red-black, we got green-white, or green-black. We didn't play any blue today, which is interesting. But, is what it is. So yeah, again, last thing, we've got the early access stream tomorrow at 1:30. Go ahead and stop by for that. It'll be a great time. I love early access, and it's always more fun with chat and people hanging out with me too. So we got early access then. That will be the end of today's stream. Hope y'all had a good time. I had a good time drafting with you all as well. And with that, I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for hanging out.